So let's just talk through like why we're doing this for a second.
Sounds great.
And what we're doing exactly. So ultimately, like, why don't you talk me through the high level project and why we're trying to pull this off?
So I think both of us have realized that there is a lot of attention these days on AI generated filmmaking or ad making. People are doing longer and longer short form pieces. We're catching sight of studios who are intending to do full length AI straight up. And so that's probably a very good direction for us to be focusing on. Yeah, so basically, the question is, where does Numonic fit into studio work? And is everything fit for purpose? Do we have the right messaging? Do we have the right product? We have a bunch of questions. So this project that we're working on is our approach to addressing those from a very hands-on perspective, going through basically what a studio would go through for this type of project.
A studio that wants to produce full-length video using AI agents.
Yeah, and I think that's really a key part, is more and more doing. Let's see how much of it we can accomplish through agentic use.
And so talk me through the team of agents that you've decided to build for this.
So there needs to be an overall orchestrator, just as you would in normal movie or TV production. We would call them director or showrunner, somebody like that. So that's the overall coordinating agent. Below them, below the director, the producer, whatever. Well, actually, separate from the director, there's also a producer, and we have a similar notion for our agents. What we're starting with is the casting director. So here we would have, just like in a regular film production, you'd have a casting director who figures out who your different actors are. In our case, the idea is, what would happen if, instead of making your agents a specific role in one production, what would happen if you had multiple productions with the same quote-unquote actors? So we'd have different actor agents and a casting director to choose those acting agents. The difference in our virtual world compared to the real world is we don't have to worry about a million people sending in CVs and headshots and a casting director having to go through all of them. Here, the casting director can actually be more like a sculptor or an architect, and actually design the perfect actors that they want to work with, which I'm sure would absolutely thrill every casting director in the world if they could really do that.
And horrify every actor.
And horrify every actor. Except the actors also benefit because they get to be the perfect actor for the troupe and the people that they're working with. There's a bunch of other agents then for editing and shot selection and all the other parts of the filmmaking experience.
And so just talk to me a little bit about the relationship between the agent workflow itself and Numonic as a platform.
So I think where Numonic really situates itself is as the domain memory layer. The current agent space is more and more focused on memory, but not quite the same memory as what we see Numonic for. That they're thinking more in terms of the context window size, remembering the tasks that they're working on. What we're concerned with is the assets that are produced, and so Numonic is the hub where a bunch of agents can go out, do the different tasks that they need to do, store their results, and fetch those results and use them further. So, for instance, you need to get raw footage of something, right? In a real world scenario. So an agent can be generating raw video. That raw video goes into Numonic. Another agent is the editor, or the quality control, or the PAs, or whomever. They can then fetch that raw the raw footage, so to speak, and edit it and put it back. And so basically, you can get the hub Numonic ends up as the lineage and the central repository for that whole production experience.
So it's essentially an asset management layer or like a platform that allows agents to be recursive and iterate on their work in this particular context.
Yeah, absolutely. And until they get to a refined product, which can then go out into YouTube, social media, go to clients and what have you.
Cool. And what's the actual production that we're putting on? Or the series of...
So the grand idea is, it goes back to a saying I heard a long time ago in video games and CGI and what have you, which was, yeah, but can it do Shakespeare? And so right now we're seeing some pretty creative and innovative AI videos being produced, but of course a lot of people will say, yeah, but can it do Shakespeare? So let's find out. Can we do Shakespeare is the idea. And so right now we're doing a prototype, and our prototype is just focused on, can we build a troupe of AI actors who would be a Shakespearean troupe, who would then go on in later projects to actually produce the real plays. Here we're looking at, okay, what if this troupe started from scratch, totally green field, and these were the young starting actors sending in their audition tapes to join the troupe.
Nice. So we're essentially assembling a troupe of AI actors that will then go on to perform multiple roles in multiple Shakespeare productions over time.
That's the goal.
Okay, let's see if it works.
Okay, so right before we started recording, I was showing you one of these stages, but since we're recording, I'll quickly talk you through this, and then I'll go back to stage one, which is stage one, which was what we're looking at. So basically, yesterday we came up with a flow. When I woke up this morning, I didn't think we quite had star quality, and it was going in quite the right direction. So I did a bunch of work this morning and this afternoon to rejig our process. And this is what we're going to end up trying to achieve. And we'll look at issue 1 in a minute, which is where we were. But issue 0 basically sets up Numonic to have a particular collection where everything will go for the different actors. So that I've done, but that's what that one is. And then issue 2 is based off of work I did this morning, where I just worked first in ChatGPT, asked it stuff, got images out, kind of like the flow that we'd come up with. So then I took that and I modeled it in ComfyUI, got that model to where I thought it was really good. I brought that into Claude Code, and Claude Code and I have worked out a way to automate it to do all of the characters that we want. So that's in this issue here. And so the output of this issue is going to be 2 things. The first is a character Bible per actor, and the second is per actor the shot selections, which we will then use to either train up a LoRA, or we'll probably do both things. We can train up a LoRA, but we can also go straight to LTX 2.3 with those images and try and get good video straight out of it. So we'll come to those in a minute, but let's go back to issue 1. So this is a run through for our character D. So how did we get to character D, first of all? I worked with ChatGPT, and we came up with basically four actors who will be the core of our troupe. We might later add in other actors for our troupe, but these 4 ought to be able to be our pillars. So actor A is our Hamlet, our Othello, our Prince Hal, etc. Actor B is Macbeth and Richard III and Falstaff. So two males, or two presenting as male and two presenting as female, a Lady Macbeth and a Juliet. And so what I worked with ChatGPT 5.5 was to figure out not just what monologues that they should use for their audition tapes for the troupe, but also what the emotional range, the character aspects that actors have to imbue for those. And so these I was hoping would give us star quality actors, and then we could work backwards to their audition tapes. So looking at one that I've completed all four now, and actor D is the one that we'll look at as an example. So this is our Juliet, our Rosalind, our Lady Anne, our Queen Elizabeth. So how do we get there? Similar, so basically I take something that's similar to this row. It's a bit different than this one. And this will go into the image generation for GPT. It's GPT image 2. It's called image 1.5 in the node, but the node is just not called the right thing. And it looks, the different actors more or less look like this. So this is actor D. We'd have a different one for actor A, but more or less it gives the plays that they're going to perform, what the different aspects that the emotional perceptivity and what have you for the different roles that they need. So it gives their range. It gives demographic guidance. So in this case, we don't want a classic Juliet who is a pale white woman. We're going to do somebody who is maybe East Asian or Pacific Islander, etc. Gives their age range, etc. And so where also how they'll fit into the troupe. So we give all that information over to GPT-2 image generation, and it outputs a few different things. First thing that it outputs is this one up here. So this gives us sort of a sheet which shows what she would look like in a few different roles and her different qualities. And so I wanted, the reason I used GPT-2 in the first place, or GPT image 2, was so that we would get this in the image itself, because that will be useful later when we make different shot selections to then be used in the videos. But aside from it, we also want, so the output then goes into another ChatGPT or GPT image 2. So the output image from that also comes in here, and from that we extract out a headshot. And you can see that the headshot looks similar to the previous one. So it's probably the same person, but it's not exactly the same picture. So that's nice, because then we have multiple pictures for the same person. The more of that we can have, the better. And basically, in all of these kinds of cases, they have looked very, very, very similar. And then the image also then flows into a third one, and the third one produces what she would have looked like before she was a star. So this is the headshot for when she was a star, and this is post being a star, or being a star. She's been in those roles, and this one down here is what she looks like and her resume before she's a star. So what skills she has, but not the skills that she's generated after being a star, but these are like what she brings as a high schooler or what have you, or straight out of college. And then finally, we also get a press kit for her, which gives us a more detailed look at once she is older and what she would look like in those actual roles. So I rerun this flow a few times so that we end up with a few that we can select from. And then basically you and I, Casey, we get to be the final call of the casting director and say, yeah, this is the one that we want to go forward with. The other thing that happens is, so these images that are generated also flow into not a GPT-2 image, but they flow into a regular chat GPT, in this case, GPT-5, because it doesn't do 5.5 as far as I can tell, or maybe this GPT-5 is 5.5, I don't know, but it's good enough at any rate. And it has a template, and that template takes the image data, and it ends up generating this here, which is a YAML file. I'll just put it into, so you can see it better. So this gives us our character Bible. So it tells us, it gives her a name. It gives us the details about her. It tells us where she's from. It gives us the particular lines that she's going to read when she does her casting video. It gives us an idea of where we think it might go. I mean, we can ignore this, but this gives us an idea of who she is and how she would fit into our troupe. So it gives us the wardrobe and the living situation for the videos. It gives us how she's probably going to breathe and do her audio for her video. How she'll probably do the performance. And then it gives us the prompt pack. And the prompt pack gives us so this is these first prompts here are what are called the anchor prompts. And so we'll pass those in along with the rest of it to give us a face, her different face images, her 3/4 images, her profile images, her body images. We'll generate all of those, and those will then go into LTX 2.3, probably to train a LoRA, but also probably just to see if it works out nicely straight up as starting images and ending images, or starting frame and ending frame images for videos. And we might just get good straight up videos that way and not have to bother with the LoRA, but I still want to train the LoRA as well. And so, yeah, that's the end of quote unquote issue 1. So basically we run this 12 times, 3 times per actor, 4 different actors. And so we end up with these files plus the different images that come out of each of these 4 nodes. Does that make sense?
Absolutely wild. I love it.
And this whole process is automated within Claude Code. So when we want to introduce the rest of our troupe, or when we want to get away from Shakespeare and do other projects, we can have similar things very quickly. So all of these nodes here are actually JSON, which maybe I'll show you. Go ahead, open. So Claude Code generated these JSON files for each of the actors so that they're very specific. And all I have to do is go to Claude Code, go to ComfyUI rather. I can copy the content. So I've Control-C. I go over to a new fresh workflow, and I just paste Control-V, and we have that actor's specific workflow.
Incredible.
I'm pretty pleased by that. So this script here will generate them. And so if we say, okay, actually for our actor A, we don't want that particular demographic profile, we want a different one, or we weren't happy with the results or whatever, we can just basically make small changes or ask Claude Code to make the changes, regenerate them, and very quickly we can do these. These take about 5 minutes to run, which is the bottleneck, because when you're doing 12, it's a little annoying. But apart from that, it'd be nice to get eventually Claude Code to do this part for us. But for now, I just did that myself manually.
Yeah, this is the manual run so that we can understand what's happening when we follow this process.
Exactly.